Hey everybody, welcome to Our Watch. I am live right now with a friend of the Our Watch ministry. Her name is Arina Merkulova. She is in Israel right now. She's a member of the Israeli Defense Force. Arina, how you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you.
Yeah, glad to have you on. You know, we've been following you for quite some time now. You're an American and an Israeli, and you're part of the Israeli Defense Force. You dropped everything in America to fly back to be a part of the solution for the problems that are going on there in Israel, and we appreciate that. We want to find out from you just an update how things are going over there in Israel.
Things are good. They're more quiet than they were before. When I landed here about a month and a half ago, we still had rockets flying into all of the central areas in Israel from Lebanon. Since the ceasefire, that's kind of stopped, but we still have troops in Lebanon that are pretty active, and we still have, operations that are going on.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now on the world scene. We look at what's going on, like, say, for instance, Syria, the fall of Bashar al-Assad. My guess is there's a lot of implications for Israel with things like that are going on. Can you talk about that?
I think that I mean, we're gonna have to see if it's a good thing or not for Israel. Only time will tell. We are, I'm sure that everybody's read that we are taking more territories in the Golan Heights, which will probably be used as probably a bargaining chip of some kind. But that's a good thing for us. But we're definitely happy that Bashar al-Assad has fled and his reign has ended as of right now. But, only time will tell what the future will bring and what kind of um, new government will be established, if it even will be established. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's been a lot of ramping up of Israel really being on the offense because of the fact that they have to defend their nation. A lot of ramping up, and a lot more forward motion, at least from the things that I'm reading. Can you talk about that at all?
Um, yeah, I mean, we're trying to, after October 7th, everything kind of started with Hamas and escalated to Hezbollah in Lebanon. And we kind of have to be proactive because we know that there are a lot of different terrorist groups all around us in almost every country that we're surrounded with. And we know that, if they feel that we're weak or we're preoccupied, they'll try to strike from different areas, and so we have to do kind of preemptive operations to make sure that that doesn't happen so that we can protect our civilians.
What's if you would speak to the morale of the Israeli Defense Force? I mean, you guys have been going at it since well since your nation was founded. Really, 5 minutes after it was founded, war was declared on you guys. But since October 7th, there's been a lot of stress on the IDF and having to bring in people, bring in reserves and everything. How's the morale for the IDF right now?
I think it's better now than it probably was, when I was here the first time, back in from October to January. Um, I think that a lot of they're starting to transition reservists in and out so that they get to go home and be with their families, and then they can come back. Um, So I think the morale is okay. I think everything, people are feeling that now that President Trump has won, things will kind of wind down. So there's definitely a lot of hope that this will all end soon. So I think that, for now, I think everything's good. Morale's pretty high, I would say.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that as far as President Trump. So, I mean, you've got the re-election of President Trump. We've watched on a world scale. We've seen a lot of things change. He's not even in office yet. We've seen a lot of things change, and
Yeah.
we've known from even before 2016, we knew that President Trump would be pro-Israel. We've watched the last 4 years of what we've had in America. It's been an atrocity, and it's
hmm
just America has not been a friend to Israel the way it should, in my opinion. But we're seeing obviously somebody like Donald Trump that's going to be coming back into office, very pro-Israel.
hmm
Are you hearing talk with people about that? I mean, I would imagine that members of the IDF would be pretty happy about that.
You know what? When I came in here, I was expecting one of two things. Either people would keep on saying and perpetrating the same propaganda that has been, around before, that like, oh, he's a joke. Can't believe they voted for him, which is kind of the first time around that was the general consensus out here, because they also have a lot of fake news media out here. It's kind of like CNN. They like take whatever CNN is saying and then they just regurgitate it here. And I've educated a lot of people out here and they've kind of turned a page on that. But this time around, I think more people are excited. A lot more people in my unit and other units that I've engaged with have been like, "Oh, we're really excited. We knew he would win. I think it was like a no-brainer that he was going to win." And so I think that they're hoping that as soon as he comes into office, that everything will kind of get back to the status quo that he left with, which was peace.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And I've got a trip coming up in October of 2025. I'm bringing a group there to Israel, and I know that.
I don't.
What's that?
I said that's exciting.
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I love, I've been there many, many times, and I'm really looking forward to going back. And I try to explain to people going to Israel is very safe. It's not a dangerous thing to
Yeah.
visit. I feel way more secure and safe in Israel than I would walking downtown LA for sure. So, what's the feel there? I know that the tourism industry has been hurt, and there's been some fear, but as far as the safety aspect of being in Israel, what's that like right now?
Honestly, kids are still running around at night doing their thing. Like that's a very Israeli thing where like kids will go out and hang out with their friends at night instead of sleeping. And it's still going on. I think that Israel is one of the safest countries that I've ever been to or lived in or traveled to. Um, I mean, they really try to protect their civilians as much as possible. Things happen, of course, but I wouldn't say that it's not safe. It's definitely safe. And I was here right after October 7th happened, and I even felt safe then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it really is. I want the audience to know that it really is a safe place. From a religious perspective, I see God's hand on Israel still, and I know that will continue. And I know biblically, I mean, it's just we know that his promises to Israel are eternal. And this is
mhm.
why Israel exists. This is why, it will never cease to exist. And people can do all the anti-Semitic crap they want, but it's not going to stop the fact that God's hand is on the nation of Israel, and his hand of blessing is there. We've seen it. The fact that God said he would bring the Jewish people back to the nation, that he would rebirth them in a single day. These things have happened. It says that he would revitalize their vineyards. Look at the wine going from Israel to all over the world now. People are drinking of the vineyards of Israel
We have
again.
wine.
We have wonderful wine there. Many,
Yeah.
I mean, so many wineries there, and it really is. You're seeing what God said he would do for the Jewish people. You're seeing him do it, and it is a blessing. So, I'm looking forward to bringing that group in October. I think it's going to be a blast. But we still need to continue to pray for the peace of Jerusalem, as we're told to in the Word of God. We want to pray for you, and I want to be a support to you, Arina. So, how can my audience be supporting you, and how can they be praying for you?
Just that this, like I've said before, I think everybody kind of wants to go back to their status quo, their lives. All of the reservists want to go home to their children. They want to go home to their wives. There are so many people here right now where their wives are either pregnant and they're completely alone, and the husbands they want to be with their families. So I think that the sooner that this all ends and we kind of go back to like a peaceful state, the better. And honestly, that's what I'm praying for every day.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue to pray for you in that manner. If there's any other way we can support you here at Our Watch, please be sure to let us know. But I want to encourage my audience to pray for the peace of Jerusalem as God has told us to in his word. And I also want to encourage my audience to tune out the anti-Semitic stuff that you're seeing, and really understand that God's hand is on the Jewish people. God's attention is turning back to them as he said he would in his word, and we cannot ignore that. We have to stand against the anti-Semitic garbage that's going on. So we as Christians need to understand the word of God. We need to know what God has to say about these issues. And by the way, one of the questions that I've been asked, a lot of people are sending in questions for me to answer. One of those questions is, what about the Jewish people? What about the promises of God on the nation of Israel? We're going to be doing a whole segment on that, answering that question about Israel and about the Jewish people, and you're not going to want to miss that one. But for now, Arina, I want to thank you so much for what you're doing, the sacrifices that you're making, and I also want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us here on Our Watch.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. God bless you, Arina. We love you from Our Watch. Want to one more time just encourage my audience, pray for Arina Merkulova, pray for her unit, pray for the Israeli Defense Force, pray for the peace of Jerusalem. We'll see you next time right here on Our Watch with Tim Thompson.